We also need to consider, in terms of including young people with additional needs, a wide range of additional needs, to what extent do they have access to a broad and balanced curriculum which meets their needs? Are they all having opportunities to participate actively? And are there appropriate pathways for them to make progress in their learning? These are broad questions, but they are questions we ask in every setting. We also want to focus on how schools and centres and organisations are addressing the needs of young people who need additional support. And often in the past that might have been done through maybe whole school or whole organisational CPD. The impact of that is variable. In my experience in looking at meeting learning needs, the best CPD and the most valuable CPD is when teachers are asked to consider who's in front of you in your class this year and what do you need to do for that young person to meet their needs best, rather than have blanket CPD, because you'll know yourself, having taught or having worked or being a parent, every young person's different. So if you have got blanket CPD that tells you all about dyslexia or blanket CPD that tells you all about autism, it's not necessarily going to be as helpful to you as if you have to think, I've got such and such a person in my class, here are the things I can see, and I want to know what I can do to try and close the gap, or what I can do as a professional to try and understand a bit more. Sometimes it's just about understanding a bit more rather than doing anything. And that's really the focus, that when we're having professional dialogue, we've moved out of, we used to, in the older model of inspection, we used to very much focus on roles and responsibilities of specialists. And we still do that. We still do ask the learning support teacher about their role and responsibility. And we still do ask guidance staff. But we very much more now look at, if I'm a young person in this establishment, where am I spending most of my time? And most of my time will be spent in the chemistry class or the maths class or PE. What is the impact of what that professional is doing on me in terms of meeting my needs? So there's very much more a focus now on looking at the responsibilities of all staff, not just teachers, all staff and partners in a community setting to meet the needs of all learners. And as Mike Russell said this morning, that's a big ask. But we have to ask these big questions, and we have to, if you like, focus people's thinking on how they're doing that. And that's why now, when we're looking at inspections and we look at giving quality indicator evaluations, the kind of key quality indicator around young people with additional needs, including learners who are dyslexic, is 5.3, which is meeting learning needs. There's no longer a separate quality indicator for the learning support department or the guidance department. It's a universal and holistic quality indicator, which means we come to a universal and holistic judgment. So even if someone is being very well supported by their learning support teacher, we could still judge that across the school the impact of that's not good enough. And that's what we base our evaluations on very much now. And increasingly.